Welcome to the 100-Yard Dash Football Podcast presented by the Chiefs Focus Network, where you talks about the NFL from end zone to end zone and all 100 yards in between. Without further ado, here's you.
Yo, what it do? This is the 100-Yard Dash Football Podcast, where I'm talking about the NFL from end zone to end zone and all 100 yards in between. Who am I? Well, who am I? My name is you. That's the letter, not the word.
You! Detective, you? Not you, you! Who? You! Who? Do you understand the words that are coming out from my mouth?
Don't nobody understand the words that are coming out your mouth. And I am your host. What's happening? Right? So this week's show, later than I planned. You can get this podcast wherever you find your podcast. Twitch. We got a Twitch stream. I do this normally once a week, normally on Wednesdays. Sometimes I do it earlier. As today, I'm doing it a little bit later. If you set up your notifications, you can know when I'm on. You can join me, interact live by joining the StreamYard stream, the Chiefs Focus Twitch stream. And you can hit up the Chiefs Focus YouTube page, like and subscribe, all that. Also, of course, y'all know, if you've listened any amount of time in the last month, that the 100-Yard Dash is now under the umbrella of the Chiefs Focus podcast, and we're doing something different. So if you subscribe to Chiefs Focus, then the episodes of this show is going to be under that umbrella. Just got to let you know. So we keep it moving. We got a rundown of the show. It ain't nothing but week 8 recap. That's it. I'm doing this show late, so I'm going to run through it because week 9 already about to start in about, 8 hours? I wanted to do it yesterday. Stuff came up. Wasn't able to do it, so whatever. So week 8 recap, then I close. Let's do it. So, I mean, let's get into this Tampa Bay Buccaneers situation. Like, the Tampa Bay Bucs lose to the Buffalo Bills, which is one team that I actually thought was going to be able to beat the Buffalo Bills, as 3 others have already done. I mean, they do have 3 losses in the loss column. 3 losses. Tampa Bay Bucs lose 18-24. Bucs are 3-4. The Bills are 5-3. My thing about I know the Bucs are still in the playoff race. Everybody's still in the playoff race, and we'll talk about the playoff race at the end of the show. I'll give you a little rundown of who's there right now. You're only at the halfway mark. Next week, week 9, is the absolute halfway mark because you got 17 games. 16 is half of 16 is 18. And so you got that one middle game. So once we finish that, we at the halfway mark. So there's plenty of time for a lot of these teams, but we'll still talk about the playoff picture as it sits right now. So the Buffalo Bills, they're obviously in the playoffs, but oddly enough, I don't want to say oddly, but they're not in the catbird seat as the I don't want to call y'all elderly, as the senior statesman used to say. They're in the catbird seat right now, and it is what it is on that front. Let's see. Let's keep. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to talk about with them. The Tampa Bay Bucs are in the NFC South, so I think they're the one leading the record there is 4-4. So that's the reason they didn't trade off Mike Evans and so forth and so on and what have you. They still got a chance to be something in that division and then obviously make it to the playoffs. Just give yourself a chance to have a chance. And that's a big deal here. So that's why they did. That's why they were not sellers at the trade deadline. So let's keep it moving. The Tennessee Titans beat the Atlanta Falcons 28-23 and takes the Falcons to 4-4, takes the Titans to 3-4. I think, okay, news. Defensive tackle Grady Jarrett for the Atlanta Falcons will miss the remainder of the season because he tore his ACL. And they have benched Ritter, and Heineke is the starter. So here's the concept with the Falcons. The Falcons they're still in it too. They're in that same division with Tampa Bay with the Bucs, and they're actually a game ahead of the Bucs. They still got it. I think the leader in that division, there's nobody. Everybody's mostly 4-4 or 3-4 in the NFC South. So they still got a chance, and they've benched Ritter. And that's significant because I think if Arthur Smith, I almost called him Arthur Blank, that's the owner. If Arthur Smith if this had been his first year, I do believe he wouldn't have benched Ritter. I don't believe that. If this had been his second year, if this had been a year of development, I don't think he would have benched Ritter. But considering this is his third year, and this is one of those do or die, win or cry type of situations, he is on the chopping block this year. So there's a lot on the line for him. And he can't have his job chopped for the sake of development of Desmond Ritter, who they don't even know that they're going to keep. They're not even sure that they're going to put the effort into trying to develop this kid. Or just go to the next one. You never know. At the end of the season, they might be top 6, top 7. The idea is not to be, but you never know what'll happen. So that's the concept with the Falcons. But the Titans, they were kind of sellers. The Titans were sellers at the trade deadline. They didn't sell everybody. Tannehill was never going to get traded. That was just never going to happen. The only team that will want him should be the Vikings right now, but because they lost, we'll talk about that later too. They lost Kirk Cousins. But no one was going to call about Tannehill. It's time is over for him. But the big one, I thought they traded the safety. They traded their safety to the Eagles, which we'll talk about. But the Titans also did not trade Nuke. They didn't trade Nuke. So that means what they're doing is they're still making a push for the playoffs as well. Will Levis had more TD passes in one game than Tannehill had all season in this game. And that's worth keeping DeAndre Hopkins on the team instead of trading him off. Because you could always trade him off, but why? If you got 2 touchdowns or you got more touchdowns than you had all season, then you can do something. You got the opportunity to do something real here. And it's in the AFC South. Everybody's neck and neck with each other. So we keep it moving. Let's go to the Texans losing to the Panthers in a surprise game for me. The Panthers beat the Texans 15-13. Takes the Panthers actually out of the winless column. Turning them to 1-6. Takes the Texans to 3-4. With this, I think it's interesting to me I guess it's not interesting so much it is as it is obvious because look, if they went winless, Matt Rule would be he had to be at least had his feet to the fire at least. Um, with the possibility of being canned because at the end of the day you're not supposed to be winless. That's not how it works here. That's not how we like it. So don't sit there and act like this is all good and it ain't. So having one in the win column is a good thing. Now you try to build upon that. So with the Texans, they still got CJ Stroud and everything. It's not the best down there, but this is the first year for their head coach. The man's got to develop talent. There's been a lot of turmoil in the Texans over the last whatever amount of years. That he's gonna have time. So they got a quarterback post Deshaun Watson, CJ Stroud's down there, and he's actually not a bad quarterback at all. So, that's pretty good. So we keep that moving. I mean, ain't nothing else to talk about there. So we keep it moving. Now, let's talk about this Jaguars and Steelers game. So, um, the kid, quarterback for the Jags, whose name is escaping me. We ain't worried about it though. Um, Ian, he mentioned, the Jags beat the Steelers, obviously, and he made them put their little face towels back in their pockets. So the Jags scored 20, the Steelers scored 10. The Steelers are 4-3. The Jags are 6-2. Jaguars are 6-2. And so here's the thing. The Jags are getting stronger. I didn't see the growth out of the quarterback for the Jags that I wanted to at the beginning of the season. It felt like a regression at first. And that's what led to the 2 losses, in my opinion. But they're getting stronger, they're meshing better, everything's starting to click for them. But even with that being said, I feel like this was a Steelers loss more than it was a Jags win. They're 2 different things. Those are 2 different things. The Jags won this game, no doubt. But the Steelers really lost this game. They had chances and they didn't capitalize, which is interesting to me. Because the Steelers feel like they start out like this every year nowadays. Is this isn't the start, but like it's like somewhere down the line they hit a snag, which is fine, but they got to figure some things out in Pittsburgh. Um, you know, and with Trevor Lawrence, that's the name of the Jags quarterback. Trevor Lawrence mentioned that they had the little hand towels or whatever, which means it's the second time he's well, I don't want to say dissed because he didn't necessarily diss him, but it was kind of a diss. It was a backhanded thing. And he mentioned the terrible towels, called them little hand towels or whatever, is something similar to that. And then he said the Chiefs stadium wasn't, he's heard louder. Yeah. So the Steelers were supposed to make him pay for that statement, and they did not. And they did not by a long shot. So anyway, that wasn't even worth spending time on. We keep it moving. The Los Angeles Rams lose to the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 5-2. The Rams are 3-5. Cowboys score 43. The Rams score 20. I look, man. Y'all know I ain't no Cowboys fan. Wife is. I'm not. The Rams just look blah to me. They look like I don't know. I don't know. I can't even explain it in decent terms right now because they just don't look good at all. They look horrible. Well, let's say not horrible. They just don't have any fizzle, no sizzle, no crack, no pop. They got nothing outside of Puka Nakua and 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 the other kid. Ah, aside from those two, you just don't see nothing really huge from them. And that's not the mark of a Sean McVay led team, which is interesting. I don't know. I don't know. It just seems very blah to me. As for the Cowboys, is their record real? Like, I understand they're 5-2 and they're a good football team, but is their record real? All of their opponents are currently below 500. Let that sink in. All of their opponents that they have played are currently below 500. And you could say that's all a coincidence if you want. And that's all well and good. And I respect that rebuttal. I absolutely do. But at the end of the day, all right, at the end of the day, when they lose to a team that's better than them in the NFC, like they did last year to the Eagles, probably, which they play the Eagles this week coming up, then they don't have anybody to blame but themselves. And they have to play the Eagles. The Eagles are in their division, but the Eagles are a good team. One of the few great teams in the NFC, actually, them and the Cowboys. But the Eagles only have one loss. The Cowboys have two. So at some point, either um, I predict the Cowboys will be having three losses, but we keep it moving. So I don't think the Cowboys have played anybody worth mentioning. So well, maybe one, but everybody else has been below 500 or is currently below 500. So there's that. We keep it moving. The Minnesota Vikings win against the Packers 24-10, which of course this is an NFC North division game. The Vikings are 4-4. The Packers are 2-5, but this win for the Vikings comes at a cost. Kirk Cousins, their quarterback, tore his Achilles, which is bad. And they were not able to acquire a quarterback. They were not able to acquire a quarterback during they were, but not of Kirk Cousins level. They were able to acquire a quarterback. It was just the kid from Arizona. So they were not able to acquire the guy that they were looking for because they were looking all over. They search high and they search low. But Kirk Cousins will definitely be missed because Josh Dobbs is very rough around the edges. There's some things he needs to refine, but the kid's not bad. And so Kirk Cousins, this is probably his last. I mean, this is the last year of his contract in Minnesota. A lot of people don't think that they're going to give him an extension or re-sign him. So this is probably the end of Kirk Cousins in a Vikings jersey. I just had a flashback to the quarterback series on Netflix where he wanted to have the jersey of his Super Bowl win in his man cave. Yeah, that ain't happening. Not this year anyway. The Packers, they signed Rashawn Gary to a 4-year, $107 million extension. So that's the thing. But Love ain't the guy. Love ain't all you need. Green Bay, Love is not all you need. And I think the Packers are starting to realize that. And I told myself at the beginning of the season, if the Packers are that unsure, and I get that you want to vet it, you want to fully vet everything and make sure you're making the right decision. I completely understand that. But if you ain't seen nothing from Love all that time you were with Rodgers, like you didn't see nothing in the background, like he was the second quarterback, you didn't see anything worth salvaging, worth signing to a long-term deal, you should have just been like, you should have just went and got your guy this draft. Because my thing is this, I'm not really sure that LaFleur is a developer of quarterbacks. I'm not really sure that he is. He seems like he is, but when you are coaching a guy like a wily vet like Aaron Rodgers, who essentially calls his own plays, he can switch in and out of those plays whenever he wants. Anybody, I don't give a pass to people who coach guys like Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, trying to think of some others, Patrick Mahomes. Those are probably the main ones. And I don't give them passes because you got so much talent. You got so much talent that at some point we just got to let you play. At some point we just got to let you play. And Aaron Rodgers is so good at going off script. Patrick Mahomes, so good at going off script. You got to dial up these plays for these wide receivers so they can figure it out. But we keep it moving. I'm not going to belabor that time on that. Keep it moving. The Patriots lose to the Miami Dolphins, which this is an AFC East situation here. So we got a few some news with this. We got the Kendrick Bourne, the wide receiver who was probably on the trade block, tore his ACL, which stinks for him. And the Dolphins actually get to sweep the Patriots. Mac Jones, very bad game as they lose. The Patriots lose 31. Dolphins score 31. Patriots score 17. Dolphins are 6-2. Patriots are the opposite of that, 2-6. And the Dolphins continue their win as they hop on a plane and head to Germany. Look, Miami is an explosive offense. I don't know. They've been stopped this season, but when I say stopped, they've been held to 20 points. It's going to be tough to hold them back. New England is not the New England of old. I think it's over. I think it's over for the New England Patriots. I really believe that, but you never know. And that's all I got on that because I don't want to talk about them either. So the New Orleans Saints beat the Indianapolis Colts. The Saints are 4-4. The Colts are 3-5. Saints score 38. The Colts score 27. Look, this game was one of those games that I'm actually surprised of. I did not believe. Well, I did believe because anybody can score 38. You just have a good day. I didn't think they were going to have a good day that day when it comes to scoring like they did, right? So, with that being said, the Saints get back to 500 by throwing for over 300 yards. Derek Carr showed the peak of his abilities in this game, in my opinion. The Colts, they don't have any quarterback depth. None. And the Saints absolutely took advantage of that. And so part of this is what they didn't have, what the Colts didn't have. Part of this is what the Saints decided to make do with what they had. So I didn't really have nothing for this game. I wasn't really paying attention to this game. With Anthony Richardson gone, the Colts aren't that much of a draw for me. And the Saints, they just feel like the old guys, and that's not a shot at anybody, but they just feel like it's taking them a long time to get started up in the league. because they got a bunch of older guys. And here's the thing with older guys in the NFL, they've seen stuff, they've experienced stuff, so they know how to get it done. But it might take them a little time to get revved up and charged up and ready to keep it moving. But with the young guys, you head on into it without the experience, and then you can lose a little bit because you're so headstrong and ready to go into the war. That's basically how I feel about that. But again, the Saints are both of these teams are in winnable divisions because none of the teams in their division have run away with anything. Saints are 4-4, Colts are 3-5, so both teams are very much in it. The Saints are in the NFC South, the Colts are in the AFC South. They still both have a lot to play for. Keep it moving. The Battle of New York. It's up to you, New York. Anyway, we keep it moving. The Jets beat the Giants 13-10. The Jets score 13. The Giants scored 10. And for me, the Jets are 4-3. The Giants are 2-6. For me, this is what you get, Giants. Here's the thing. I don't think that the Giants are a horrible team. I don't believe that. But they are. But they are. And that's mainly because they decided to keep Daniel Jones. They decided to do it. Why would they keep Daniel Jones? You had the opportunity, and a lot of people say, who else you going to get? Look, man, you had the opportunity to go start from scratch. You brought in a guy and you'll hear me say this more than once throughout this season. You brought in a guy like Brian Daboll to develop your quarterback. He brought the best out of Daniel Jones. But Daniel Jones' limitations are exactly that. Super limited. Super limited. And you see him this year. Dude's getting caved in. And then you don't even have the offensive line to protect him. Like, really? I don't understand. And the Jets, of course, they have their little issues because they did not plan on being this bad because they had Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers might make a comeback, they say. I don't think so, but keep your head above water. Keeping your head above water. 4-3 Jets are keeping their heads above water. I think they're hopefully waiting on Aaron Rodgers to come back from that injury. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is coming back from that injury anytime soon. So we'll keep it moving. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the Washington Commanders, who were sellers at the trade deadline. The Eagles scored 38. The Commanders scored 31. The Commanders are 3-5. The Eagles are 7-1. Washington parts ways with Chase Young and Montez Sweat. Chase went to the 49ers, and he is now reunited with I don't remember which Bosa brother, Nick Bosa. He's reunited with Nick Bosa, and it feels so good. And the Eagles traded the Tennessee Titans for their safety, Byard. So, there were some moves made with both of these teams, some to get rid of some players, some to acquire some. The Commanders got back a second and a third and a fourth for Sweat and Young. So that's actually better than I thought it was going to be for both of them, considering they did not pick up their 5th-round option. So they actually got a pretty decent price for both of those guys. And so I don't believe that this team will be around the head coaching regime. The coaching regime in general will be around long this season. I give it my over under on before Josh Harris and the ownership group of the Commanders make moves to, sweep the head coaching situation out of there. The over under, I'm setting it at 3 more games. So at week 12, okay, we're week 8, 3 more games. I'm calling this week 9. So yes, week 12. By week 12, I believe there's going to be a clean sweep of the coaching staff. Well, at least for one person for sure, which is the head coach. So we'll see what happens, but I don't believe that they are long for this team, the coaching staff, that is. We keep it. Oh, the Eagles. The Eagles are getting stronger. They play the Dallas Cowboys, so we'll see exactly how strong they'll be because those dudes are rivals. They can't stand each other, and I love it. I love it. So we keep it moving. The Browns lose to the Seahawks 24-20. Who are the Seahawks are quietly atop the NFC. See, the thing about it is when you think about teams in the NFC, you think about the 49ers with their record, which they have 3 losses, but they were coming off of that undefeated streak that they had. They were one of the last undefeated teams. And now they've lost 3 in a row. But the Seahawks, no one's talking about them, but they're 5-2. They're 5-2. And so they're like right up under the Eagles with their 7-1 record. 7-1 record. The Browns are 4-3. The Browns are 4-3. With this game, the Seahawks been putting together a decent season, and it's definitely very quiet. The Browns, Deshaun Watson does not look like he wants to play football. I think this was a massive massively bad move for the Browns franchise. It's not necessarily moving to go get him, but paying him a fully guaranteed contract was absolutely asinine. Stupid on multiple levels. Stupid, doo-doo, dumb. And now the brother don't want to play. This is what you get. You play stupid games, you win. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Period. And I'm all for fully guaranteed contracts. But you gave it to Deshaun Watson, who hadn't played football in 2 seasons before last year. Or at least a season and a half, if my memory serves. But it is what it is. Y'all decide to do it. I think Kevin Stefanski's going to pay with his job if they don't make it to the playoffs at least. But even if they do make it to the playoffs, Baker Mayfield got you to the playoffs. Sometimes it's not better to hedge your bet. Sometimes. It costs you more than you thought it would. So we keep it moving. I think I had some things with my notes. Some moves that were made. Nope, no moves were made. We keep it moving. The Baltimore Ravens beat the Arizona Cardinals 31-24. The Cardinals are 1-7. The Ravens are 6-2. I thought the Cardinals was going to be sellers. I thought Minnesota, and they were because they got rid of Josh Dobbs and sent her to Minnesota. But somebody mentioned on my timeline that the Minnesota Vikings were looking at acquiring Kyler Murray. That's his name. They were looking at acquiring Kyler Murray. And the first thing I said was, I don't think their head coach is ready for that. I don't think the Minnesota Vikings are ready for such a character as Kyler. I just don't think they are. Going from Ned Flanders, who is Kirk Cousins, to Kyler would be a little bit of a that'd be kind of wild. But nonetheless, nothing happened, so no big deal there. The Ravens are 6-2. The Cardinals are 1-7. Arizona is a scrappy team, but they need more of everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. They need more quarterback play. They need more running back play, tight end play, which they do have a good tight end who I think will develop into something. Wide receiver play, safety play, cornerback play, linebacker. Like they need it all. And Dobbs was the one sent up to Minnesota. So, yeah, for a conditional seventh, that's nothing. So the Arizona Cardinals, they're a scrappy team. They're not tanking. It doesn't look like they're tanking, but they're trying to get it done. And the Ravens, look at them, 6-2. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Let's keep it moving. Here come the Cincinnati Bengals. Here they come. Boogity boogity. Look. Okay, let's get the pleasantries out the way. The Bengals beat the 49ers 31-17. The Bengals are 4-3. The 49ers are 5-3. The Bengals are clawing their way back into contention. The last thing the rest of the AFC should have wanted to contend with is a tough Bengals team that knows it can win. Not only win on the offensive side of the ball, but they have been winning with the defense and the special teams. Both of them. Wild. And that's the last thing that you want to contend with. They're currently not in the playoff picture, but it's not going to take long for them to stack these wins up and figure it out. And the 49ers, let's go to the 49ers. They traded for Chase Young, and they gave the Commanders the 3rd round pick. The 49ers pass rush struggles without having Bosa in the lineup. So they're hoping that trading for Chase Young, reuniting them two, will help. Brock Purdy doesn't look as good as he's supposed to. Brock Purdy ain't looking so purdy. And they're gonna have to figure that out. That's on Kyle. And if Kyle is not, if this is not the quarterback, if Brock Purdy is not the quarterback that he was last season, is Kyle the genius that we put him out to be? Because I do believe there's a lot of genius on Kyle Shanahan's part. I do believe that. But some stuff like this, some games like these, some situations like these, Brock Purdy's may not have been put in the best position. And if you had a player of a higher caliber than him, he might have been able to get himself out of that position. I'm not sure. I don't think Brock Purdy's the answer, but we'll see how that works out for the rest of the season. I think Kyle Shanahan's an amazing play designer, and I think he can make the best out of almost any quarterback. Look, if you coach Matt Ryan, you you could do it best with anybody. But I think Brock Purdy needs a little bit more in year 2. We've seen a lot of what Brock Purdy can do. And if I've seen it, the defense has seen it on the other team. So they got to figure out into the game and figure it out, because you don't want the clock to strike midnight on a Brock Purdy. We keep it moving. We almost done, y'all. The Chiefs bums lose to the Broncos 24-9. Broncos score 24. The Chiefs score 9. Second meeting in 3 weeks. The Broncos are 3-5. The Chiefs are 6-2. Yeah, I could go off about this game. I really could. I could go off about this game. I went off about this game in game. Vance Joseph finally got the Chiefs. Finally got him one off the Chiefs. Every year around week 8 or 8 through 11, somewhere in that time frame, I feel like Andy Reid coaches and he gets caught sleepwalking. Like sometimes you coach such a great player like Patrick Mahomes, you end up watching as opposed to coaching. And I understand that. I get it. It happens because Patrick Mahomes is freaking amazing. This was supposed to be Pat's flu game. That dude had the flu in 20-degree weather. He should not have been playing, in my opinion. This is not saying that we're blaming it on the flu. I blame it on the coaches. They should have never had him out there. Anyway, Chiefs, 5 turnovers, bad play calling, should have ran it more, and even worse execution. The defense tried to keep the Chiefs in this game. In fact, it was closer to 24-9 until the last touchdown was where the last touchdown was in the last 5-6 minutes. And, they could have done something. All they needed was a spark, and nobody could provide one. Not a wide receiver, not anybody on the offense. Travis Kelce couldn't provide one. Nobody could. I don't want to hear nothing about Taylor Swift. This ain't got nothing to do with us losing. Has nothing to do with her being there or not being there. Look, you gotta play no matter what. Now the Broncos on the other hand, they came out. They came out with a good game plan. They didn't expect Russ to be the guy that he is. Like they didn't come out with a bad game plan of Russ throwing it everywhere. No, Russ made a few key throws, and he made sure those throws counted, including that one to Jerry Jeudy in the back of the end zone. Great throw, by the by. Jerry Jeudy's even better catch because he definitely created separation with Williams on that play. I think it was Williams. But the Broncos came out and saw what they needed to do. They were physical with the Chiefs receivers. They made sure to continue to get to the quarterback, and they figured it out. So kudos to the Denver Broncos, who moved to 3-5 as the Chiefs dropped to 6-2. For the Chiefs fans, we're pissed. I'm upset. I know that. But the sky isn't falling. You lost. This is your second loss. Relax. It's just that game looks so bad from the outside that it makes you want to be like, you know what? Sky is falling. It's not. I promise you it's not. We keep it moving. The LA Chargers beat the Bears 30-13. Who didn't expect that? You didn't expect it? I don't know why not. You should have. The Bears are 2-6. The Chargers are 3-4. That record of the Chargers, boy, that's an interesting one for me. That record of the Chargers is interesting. But anyway, we keep it moving. If the Chargers would have lost this game, they should have sent the head coach back with Chicago. But they didn't. Now, let me repeat that. If the Chargers would have lost this game, they should have sent the head coach back with Chicago and made him walk back. But they didn't. So now they're in a 3-way tie for second in the division with the Broncos and the Raiders. if there was any team that's going to come back from what they came back from, the issues that they suffered at the beginning of the season, it's going to be the Chargers. They have the talent. They have better coaching than those other guys right now. But, you know, do I see it happening? No. I do see them winning a few games, but I don't know if they're going to come back to make the playoffs. That's pretty much all I got. The Bears, y'all know what the Bears are. The Bears stink. They stink, and y'all know it. We all know it. So, in the interest of time, we're going to keep it moving. Last but not least, the Lions claw up the Raiders 26-14, as the Lions are 6-2. The Raiders are 3-5. What to say about this situation? I'm surprised the Raiders were not sellers during the trade deadline. Jahmyr Gibbs was freaking amazing this game. What in the world? I mean, you see exactly why they went and drafted him. Dude, kid was amazing. Again, Lions are 6-2, Raiders are 3-5. I don't know why you bring Jimmy G in for the Raiders. I don't know why you bring Jimmy G in to be your number one quarterback. I don't understand. Oh, yeah, by the by, the Raiders fired the GM Dave Ziegler and the head coach Josh McDaniels. And I just wonder, what was the last straw that broke the camel's back? And apparently, Mark Davis, the owner of the team, talked with the players, which is cool for me. Which, when I hear that, I'm like, okay. He talked with the players, and there's a lot of dysfunction in that room with Josh McDaniels at the head as the head coach. And for him to make this move right now, even though he gave him a 6-year deal, gave Josh McDaniels a 6-year coaching deal, crazy. For him to do this and him being in the situation that he's in, I actually commend him for doing that. But has the damage already been done? Tom Pelissero said, tweeted this or X'd it. I don't know if this, what are they called now? X's or tweets? I don't know. Raiders quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, who has been benched for rookie Aiden O'Connell, has $11.25 million in fully guaranteed base salary in 2024. He also gets bonus if he's on the roster on the 5th day of the league year in March. One of the many issues for the next GM. Man, if I'm the GM and the head coach, yeah, you think you could fix this situation, right? You think you could fix this situation. And I heard Nick Wright on his show, First Things First, mention that he would go get Eric Bieniemy, bring him here, and give him full reign or whatever, and go from there. And just admit this next year's a wash, right? And I'm fine with that, but man, the fact that you would allow your team to be drawn down so much is not good. But credit, like I said, kudos to Mark Davis. He saw the problem. He nixed the problem ASAP. So shout out to Mark Davis. So the interest of time. Oh, the Lions. Shout out to the Lions. Like, I knew they would be good. Most people knew that the Detroit Lions were going to be good. Most of us knew that. But 6-2 good. Jahmyr Gibbs was their first round pick. And I thought I flamed them for real for picking them in the first round. And picking the tight end that they picked up in the first round. But look, these dudes are killing the game right now. So shout out to the Lions, clawing everybody up. So coming off that loss, they clawing everybody up. So we keep it moving. Let's look at the current playoff pictures. I suspect that it might look a lot different at the end of the year, but I think it's worth looking at since we're at a little bit of the halfway mark. Over here at the AFC, you see you got the Chiefs, the Dolphins. Number 2 are the Dolphins. Number 3, the Jacksonville Jaguars. 4 is the Ravens. 5 is the Bills. 6 is the Steelers. 7 is the Browns. On the NFC, you got the Eagles, the Lions, the Seahawks, the Falcons, the Cowboys, the 49ers, and the Vikings. See, this is why the Vikings want a quarterback, because the Vikings are, I don't know if I can do it. There we go. Right there. The Vikings are right there at that mark where they could just be nixed if they want to. And then they got the rookie, whose name escapes me, but their other receivers coming back here in a couple of weeks. So they want to stay in their position, so they don't want to lose it. And shout out to the Vikings for being able to recognize that they could, because a lot of people are in denial when it comes to that stuff. So as you see the current playoff projections as they are, I am interested to see how it is in 3 or 4 weeks when we come back to this, because that'll be week 12. I'll probably do this once a week, as far as, just taking a look at the playoff picture every week, just to see if somebody goes up, somebody goes down. And I look forward to talking more football with you all. I'm thinking about doing grades, mid-season grades for everybody, but don't count me on that. So, if there's nothing else that calls my attention, I don't think there is anything else that calls my attention. So, yeah, nope, that's pretty much it. So, again, thank you for listening. Appreciate everything. You can always subscribe to the show. This is the 100-Yard Dash Football Podcast, presented by Chiefs Focus. You can always view the show. I do this mostly on Wednesdays, but sometimes it's Thursdays. So set your notifications. You can know when I'm on. Again, my name is you. That's the letter, not the word. And I will see you later. Deuces.